In all the Japanese versions of Dragon Ball, Goku, his father Bardock, and his two sons Gohan and Goten is actually voiced by an older woman named Masako Nozawa. Many of the characters' names are actually a play on English words. Some examples are Kakarot, taken from carrot, Vegeta, simply taken from the first 6 letters of the word vegetable, Raditz from radish, Frieza comes from freezer, Broly from broccoli, Paragus taken from asparagus, and then there's more obvious ones such as Trunks, Briefs, Launch, Piano, Shield, Cooler, and many more. Also in Japanese, Seiya is formed by rearranging the syllables of the Japanese word Yasai, which also happens to mean vegetable. In other words, Super Saiyan equals super vegetable. Something that I also covered in my very first episode of this series, Top 10 Facts Memes, is that the line from the popular meme "It's over 9,000" is actually wrong. In the original manga, he actually says it's over 8,000. After doing some further digging into the dark corners of the web, it seems like it was changed to better fit the character's mouth movements in the English dub. However, Vegeta still says 8,000 in the remastered English DVD release of the episode.
What does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 8,000! 8,000?!
Frieza is one of the most significant villains in the series, but he's also the most frequently defeated villain, being defeated a total of 5 times. He lost to Goku Namek, was executed by Future Trunks and defeated by Pikkon in Dragon Ball Z. He was also sent back to Hell by Gohan in Fusion Reborn, and was frozen and smashed to pieces by Goku in Dragon Ball GT. It could also be said to be 6 if you count Ghost Warrior Frieza, who was also defeated by Future Trunks. Frieza's fight against Goku is also the longest fight in the Dragon Ball Z anime, spanning 19 episodes. And quite ironically, despite doing everything in his power to make sure that a Super Saiyan would never surface, Frieza actually caused the most Super Saiyan transformations in the series. In one way or another, he caused Goku, Gohan, Bardock, and Broly to become a Super Saiyan. During a scene in the first episode of the Namek saga, a picture of several Nameks is shown, and one of them has a mustache. This is kinda weird, as no other Nameks in the entire series has been seen with facial hair of any kind. The exception would be Piano, a mutated Namek who has a few sprouts of hair on the back of his head. Goku's signature attack, the Kamehameha, translates to Turtle Destruction Wave from Japanese. But Kamehameha is also the name of a man who established the Kingdom of Hawaii in 1810. His full name was Kalani Paea Wuhi U Kaleikini Kiali Ikui Kamehameha O Iulani I Kaivikapu Kaui Ka Li Huli Hu Kunui IKEA. Okay, that's fucking impossible to say. I'm just saying. Aside from anime and manga, Dragon Ball is also a very popular video game franchise, especially in Japan. There have been a total of 138 video games about the Dragon Ball franchise, the majority of which have only been released in Japan though. In Dragon Ball, as well as in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo's blood is seen as red, but later in the series his and other Namekians' blood is always purple. This change most likely took place because in the beginning Piccolo was just seen as an evil alien. He didn't have a race or background or anything, he was just a simple villain. But as the story progressed and his character was further developed, he was eventually given a race, and thus somewhere along that process they decided to change the color of Namekian's blood. The Dragon Ball anime is actually quite sexual, even though it's aimed toward children and early teens. And I'm not talking about subtle dialogue and sexual innuendos here. No, more in the lines of stuff that wouldn't even make it on most Western animated shows aimed towards adults and late teens. Like when Bulma shows herself naked simply to get what she wants. Or when she on several occasions teases Goku by revealing her panties and the dialogue implies that she will undress for him. Or how about when Goku literally undresses her while she's sleeping? Or just some very sexual fan service in general. Or how about skipping all the hinting and just show some completely uncensored breasts? Not kidding here, it was only shown for about 3 or 4 frames and hard to see without slowing it down, but still, you would never see that in, for example, an American cartoon. It just goes to show how different some cultures and countries view nudity and sex. A live-action movie based on Dragon Ball was made in 1990, named Dragon Ball Fight Son Goku, Win Son Goku. It was a very low-budget, unofficial Korean film based on the manga. A similarly low-budget and unofficial movie was made in Taiwan in 1991 and was called Dragon Ball The Magic Begins. Even so, these two movies are still better than this sorry excuse of a movie released in 2009. It's a movie I wouldn't even want on my list of bad movies. That's how bad it is. It's one of these movies, you know, that when you watch it, you're just blown away by the fact that a whole bunch of executives has sat through this whole thing, probably several times, and said, you know what, Steve, I like this movie. I like it so much, in fact, that I'm gonna put my name on it to let everyone know who made it and release it for the whole world to view. That is incredible. That requires balls. You could almost say it requires Dragon Balls.